The scream hit me like a thunderclap, sharp and raw, slicing through the quiet of my ranch. I spun around, coffee mug in hand, and saw Herlinda Hayes, the HOA's self-crowned queen, tearing across my pasture, arms windmilling, shrieking as if the devil himself was on her tail. But it wasn't the devil. It was Brutus, my 2,000-pound Angus bull, charging after her with the fury of a freight train. One moment, Linda stood smugly by the gash she'd cut in my fence, clutching her clipboard like a scepter. The next, she was sprinting for her life, her designer visor sailing into the dust, her phone bouncing in the grass. I leaned against my truck, half stunned, half amused, wondering if I should call the sheriff or just enjoy the show. This wasn't just a chassis, it was the climax of a war she'd started, and Brutus was delivering justice on four hooves. It all began the day before when Linda rolled up to my gate uninvited, her white SUV gleaming like her fake smile. As the new HOA president of Pinewood Meadows, she carried herself like she'd been anointed, not elected. "Mr. Caleb Turner," she chirped, waving a binder stuffed with complaints. "The HOA board voted to build a community walking trail right through your ranch." I kept my voice steady. "My land's been in my family for generations, Linda. It's not part of your HOA, and my cattle roam free. No trails happening." Her smile twitched, her eyes narrowing. "You're obstructing community progress," she snapped. "This is for wellness." I pointed out that carving through private property wasn't wellness, it was trespassing. She scoffed, brandishing her binder like a weapon, and stormed off, muttering about making it happen. I figured she'd huff and puff, but backed down. Most HOA types barked louder than they bit, and land law was on my side. But Linda wasn't most types. She craved control, and I'd just painted a target on my back. The next morning, a strange beeping jolted me awake. Thinking it was a coyote tripping a motion sensor, I checked the security feed and nearly dropped my phone. There was Linda, in a neon green tracksuit and oversized sunglasses, wielding industrial bolt cutters at my southern fence. She glanced around, snipped the wire, and giggled like she'd outsmarted the law itself. What she didn't know was that pasture belonged to Brutus, a bull I'd bottle-fed as a calf. He was gentle with my kids, but fiercely protective of his turf, especially against intruders reeking of floral perfume and entitlement. I grabbed my keys, racing to the truck, praying I'd get there before disaster struck. Too late. The fence gaped open, footprints trailed into the field, and then came the scream, high-pitched, desperate, followed by Brutus's bellow, deep enough to rattle my bones. Over the ridge, Linda fled, her HOA badge tangled in her hair, phone clutched like a lifeline. Brutus thundered behind, ears pinned, snorting fury. My ranch hand, Javier, watching from the barn, muttered, "Think she's fast enough to hit the gate?" I shrugged. "Depends on how much yoga she's skipped." Brutus wasn't out for blood, just territory. He chased her with dramatic charges, kicking up dust until she tripped face first into a patch of prickly weeds. By the time I reached her, she was scratched, panting, and spitting venom. "You let that monster attack me," she wheezed, pointing. I reminded her she'd trespassed, cut my fence, and strolled into a live pasture. She slipped, trying to stand, cursing and threatening lawsuits as if her HOA title trumped Texas law. I called Sheriff Holt, a family friend, to document the damage, not press charges yet. When he saw the footage, he roared with laughter. "That's karma with horns," he said. Linda demanded Brutus's arrest. Holt blinked. "Ma'am, that bull's got more right to be here than you." She sulked home, but the story spread like wildfire. My cousin posted the clip online, and by evening, Brutus was dubbed the HOA Smasher, Linda's neon chase a viral meme. News crews called for interviews. I declined, but let Brutus pose by the repaired fence, looking regal. Linda's silence felt too ominous. She wasn't the type to slink away humiliated to retaliate. By noon the next day, her SUV returned, this time with a polo shirt man clutching a clipboard and a sour-faced woman in sunglasses. Linda, ankle-braced for sympathy, limped toward my gate, claiming her team was assessing livestock damage and HOA trauma. I asked if she was seriously trespassing again. She cited emergency community protocols. When she started filming, narrating how I endangered residents with hostile animals, Brutus, grazing nearby, lifted his tail and dropped a pile in frame. I grabbed my county maps, showing my land predated her HOA by decades. Take it up with the surveyor, me cousin Luke, I said. Linda argued the lines looked wrong. Her clipboard man tried to speak, but she shushed him, vowing a formal grievance. As they left, I called Holt, who sighed. Linda had already reported Brutus as a wild beast threatening kids. Holt dismissed omitted her fence cutting. He sent a deputy to log her second intrusion. To stay ahead, Javier and I installed more cameras and motion-activated horns that blared at trespassers. Signs read, "Live bull. Trespassers may be chased or filmed." At noon, the system caught Linda's crew tossing apples into the pasture, likely baiting Brutus for aggression proof. He ignored the fruit, watching them warily. That night, the clip went viral. Fans joking Linda was pitching Karen's versus cattle, rural reckoning. 2 days later, an HOA grievance arrived, listing absurd violations, unkempt pasture, intimidating fence, and hostile animal in view. I laughed, but the organized nonsense meant Linda had board support. I met my lawyer, Rachel, a ranch-raised litigator who scoffed at the letter. "Hit back or hit hard?" she asked. "Both," I said. We filed a countersuit for trespassing, property damage, harassment, and livestock endangerment, seeking a 200-foot HOA buffer. Linda got the summons while walking her dog near my fence. Javier said she turned purple, screaming about suing the sheriff, the county, even Brutus. Brutus just chewed cud, unimpressed. 3 days later, the town buzzed with gossip. The feed store hung a poster of Brutus in a sheriff's hat, captioned "Judge Hooves." Linda countered with a pamphlet, "Community Safety Crisis, The Brutus Threat," featuring a photoshopped bull with glowing eyes. It called me a livestock menace and her a safety hero. Neighbors rolled their eyes her past fights over flower beds, parked trucks, and noisy hens had worn out her welcome. They sent me old emails proving her pattern, which Rachel added to our case. The town council, tired of Linda's demands to declare Brutus a community emergency, told her to back off. The day before the hearing, Linda held a press conference outside the HOA office, decrying my shared land misuse. A stray goat knocked over her podium mid-speech, bleeding into the mic. The viral clip buried her further. At the hearing, the courthouse was packed, locals treating it like a rodeo. Linda entered with a neck brace, her lawyer looking defeated. Rachel presented our case. Deeds proving my land's independence, footage of Linda's trespasses, and her own words about teaching me. The judge, unimpressed by Linda's claim that Brutus was trained to attack, ruled for us. Linda and the HOA owed damages for fence repairs, distress, and legal fees, plus a 300-foot permanent injunction. Outside, Linda's final meltdown accusing the judge, sheriff, and me hit the news, her clipboard toss immortalized in memes. 2 weeks later, Linda tried one last stunt, a beautification project along my fence. Her crew, in orange vests, uprooted my shrubs through the old fence hole, claiming community approval. Brutus approached, scattering them. Holt arrived, debunking Linda's permit as an invoice. Nighttime footage later caught her hired hands moving my fence inward, only for Brutus to charge, toppling their flimsy slats. The clip, "Brutus Saves the Line," went global. Rachel added land seizure charges. Linda's Unity Barbecue flopped shirts read, "Don't mess with Brutus." Her resignation followed, the HOA disavowing her. I hosted a community picnic, kids playing near Brutus's secure pen, signs proclaiming, "Bull that beat the HOA." The mayor gifted a plaque for my unshakable fence. Linda's gone, but her echo lingers. Was I too harsh, letting a bull and lawsuits crush her for a trail dream? Or was I right, defending my land from a tyrant who ignored boundaries? Brutus, grazing under the stars, doesn't care. He's peace and power, a guardian who taught a town that respect isn't optional, it's earned, one charge at a time.